Awesome people, I hope you're all feeling amazing as always. Welcome back to the Good to Go pod. I am Good to Go Joe, your host, and this episode, if that's what we're calling them, I have the amazing Bianca coming in for this conversation. I reached out to her. She's online personal trainer working in the United States, and she comes across my feed quite a lot. And she strikes me as an amazing trainer who is helping make the fitness industry a far more inclusive space. And so I wanted to have a talk with her about that. So that's what I did. But first, before we go into that, a little bit of admin work. Thank you. Huge shout out to our Patreons. Thank you very much. Over these summer holidays, I've got some things cooking in my little brain here about what we're going to do with the Patreon and how we can make that a far more fun place for you guys. I want to talk about the fact that I have written and writing a book. It's an opinion piece on how I think the fitness industry is, and of course there's a car outside with some kind of noise going on. Do you mind? Anyway, and I think what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to turn that into a Patreon thing. I'm still deciding what I'm going to do there, but I think what we might do for Patreons is to sit down and read the book. And then I've got another amazing person in my life who is offering up their very generous services to help me edit the book. So, if you want to join me in that process, just hang about. I will make a proper announcement about that towards the end of summer. But that's what I'm working towards, to make the Patreon a far more fun place. And then I've also had an idea about whether or not to do this whole my journey towards 50, that kind of stuff, and getting in my fitness program, blah blah. There's thoughts there. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Anyway, that's what's coming your way. But yeah, shout out to the Patreons. If you're interested in getting some more stuff in the Patreon or becoming a Patreon, there's a link in the show notes so you can help us out there. There's stuff coming there. The other thing that you can do to help us out is, if you haven't already, go to the YouTube page. If you're watching this on YouTube, then click subscribe. If you're listening to this on the podcatcher, go to the YouTube page. There's a link in the show notes, and subscribe to our YouTube page. There's a bunch of other stuff up on the YouTube page, and we're aiming at releasing a new video at least once a week, every week for the rest of the year, for your education and enjoyment. I don't know. Yeah, for you guys and for us, to help us grow and to help you understand a little bit more about your health and fitness. So that's the admin work. Back to my conversation with Bianca, which was huge, was heaps of amount of fun for me. I'm definitely going to ask Bianca to come back onto my podcast and we have more conversations about working in the fitness industry and, how we can make it a space that is far more welcoming and accepting and less judgmental, and becomes more about helping people move and feel better, rather than making people feel guilty and like they don't actually belong. So I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. I'm going to come back at the end with my takeaways, as always. And yeah, if you've got any quandaries or queries about this conversation or any of the other conversations we've had on this podcast, please feel free to get in contact. pod@goodtogo.se. There's a link in the show notes. Other than that, here's my conversation. See you at the end. Bye-bye. This computer. Okay. Hello, awesome people. Welcome back to the Good to Go pod. I hope you're all feeling amazing, as always. Today, I'm super excited. I have Bianca here talking with me about... Now, the question I sent to you was, can we talk about how we can be more inclusive in the fitness industry? So I'm really excited for this conversation. But first of all, Bianca, tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, my name is Bianca. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based in Washington, D.C. I am an entrepreneur, a sport and fitness entrepreneur. My primary business is Bianca Russo Fitness, and I work as a personal trainer, all virtual. And I also have hired some trainers that teach classes with me. And the other business that I have is called the DC Pickleball Club, where we build fellowship around the sport of pickleball.
Pickleball. Now, I'm gonna make an assumption here because here I'm assuming these two things are the same thing. Here in Sweden, the latest fad is they call it paddle. So I'm
Different
assuming.
sport.
Oh, okay, different. Okay,
Yeah,
well then, what's
I've not-
pickleball?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you what's paddle.
Well, I think
Pickleball,
paddle
yeah.
is actually think paddle is pickleball. You use a bat about this big with the ball with holes in it.
True, but I understand it's a different sport. It's PADEL, right?
Well,
Paddle.
honestly, I don't know. I would spell it with two D's, but anyway, I'm not the strongest speller in the
Regardless,
world.
yeah, I'm almost certain that it's a different sport.
Okay.
Pickleball is a competitive paddle sport that has a wooden or composite paddle, whereas I understand paddle is more of a racket sport. So we're calling it
Okay.
paddle is a racket sport. It's different from the sport known in the US as paddle tennis. Yeah, okay. So pickleball is typically played in doubles. The ball looks like a wiffle ball, so it's a more of a plastic ball with holes in it. And with the most simplistic explanation possible, you hit the ball over the net so that your opponent can't return
it. Yeah, fair enough. Cool.
It is so fun. It's addictive. So when I'm not doing Bianca Russo Fitness during the week, I'm doing pickleball on the weekends.
Awesome. That sounds like a bunch of fun. I like it. So
it's so fun.
See, the next question here that I want to ask you is, do you love it?
I am in love with it.
Nice. Nice.
I learned how to play pickleball in high school about 19 years ago. And I've since gotten a certification as a pickleball coach. So I'm primarily teaching lessons here. But we have leagues and tournaments in DC. And it's just the perfect complement to fitness training, because someone who's playing on the pickleball court says, oh, my knees hurt. And it really such a stretch when I try to grab my ankle and say, okay, let's talk about stretching your quads and strengthening your hamstrings. Come back next week, see how you feel. So I can really help people from all directions.
Nice. I like it. So my first big question that I've actually got here for you is why become a fitness trainer? What's your journey there? Tell me about how that happens.
Yeah, so it's quite a journey. It has been quite a journey. The story goes, I had an experience in college in New York City where I was not in a good place. I was abusing drugs and alcohol, and I was getting caught up in the wrong crowd. And somehow this wrong crowd stole my information, my personal sensitive information, and purchased 5 brand new vehicles under my name. So this affected my credit score and also my ability to drive. So 7 years have gone by since then. And in fact, I'm taking my driver's test today.
Good luck.
Thank you. But the point of the story is I was post-college and trying to apply for jobs. And at the time, it was legal to do background checks into your credit history. Employers would see how low my credit score was and investigate further, and then they would see 5 brand new vehicles that weren't paid off, and I had multiple job offers rescinded.
Oof.
So I found myself living in Washington, D.C. and unable to find a job. So I decided to create the job for myself. And at that specific time, I was working as an EMT in the emergency department at a hospital downtown. And not only was I so discouraged by the fact that I couldn't pursue my professional dreams. I was especially disheartened in that position in the emergency department, where people come and they're sick and they're injured. And I was thinking about the combination of how people come into that environment when they're at their worst. And I felt like I was at a time where I was at my worst, because I couldn't reach my potential. The last thing I ever wanted to do was go into the emergency room. And I also suspected that others didn't want to either. So I thought, how can I help people to avoid this place? How can I help people to avoid getting sick and injured? The light bulb went off one day, and I thought, I'm going to help people to become strong and healthy through fitness. And that's how I got started as a trainer. I studied on nights and weekends, pursued my NASM certification, which is National Academy of Sports Medicine. Yep. And I've held my certification now for, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 5 years now.
Awesome. And that's how you become a personal trainer.
And that's how I became a personal trainer. As far as how did the inclusivity develop, I'm a person who identifies as queer. And when someone, in most cases, becomes a fitness trainer, they don't have any clients. So I asked my friends, hey, can you please test out this workout for me? And what do you think of this exercise? And because my friends are predominantly queer as well, these people, for the most part, have lived traumatic experiences or have bodies of varying sizes or types, and some of whom are trans and need specific attention to areas of their body that is not mainstream. It became very organic to service my clients. It became very organic to service my clients thereafter in an inclusive and affirming way because of who my friends were.
And then, so what is the difference between the language and physical habits that you have when servicing your clients and what you were taught in trainer school? Yeah, I know.
Night
sorry.
No,
sorry, not question.
Sorry. That's a great question, Joe, because I recently moved and I was unpacking my NASM textbook, and for some reason I thought I should keep it because the science is really valuable. But we are taught to change people, and we are taught to, in the educational journey, that we know what is best for our clients. On the contrary, we must listen to our clients and hear what it is that their needs are or what their limitations or boundaries are, and then guide them to what then we believe is best and safest for them.
Yeah.
So there's no mention about safety I shouldn't say there's no mention. There's no profound mention of emotional and psychiatric safety in the textbook. However, the actions that I take or lack thereof when I was in the gym would include things like not touching my clients' bodies without permission.
Yep.
Instead of putting my hand on their body and moving their shoulder up, I would say, with words first, why don't you try moving your shoulder up like this? And I would demonstrate so they could see. And if they're still not getting it, I would ask permission. Like, would you feel comfortable if I move your shoulder with my hand? And just having a culture of consent is not taught.
Can I just throw in there? And, as I said before we started recording, I'm sitting on a 20 year career. So I got qualified back in the dark ages. And we were taught to ask consent purely for the reason that you could be sued if you didn't.
There's so much more to it.
It's not about actually just asking consent because it's the decent thing to do and people have autonomy over their own bodies and you're not allowed to touch them without their permission. It's don't touch them because they could sue you if you do. And it's backwards. It's so backwards. But anyway, keep going. Sorry, I just had to throw in there.
I'm happy to hear that there was some consideration, but it is backwards and selfish. It should be, patient first thinking in the emergency room context, or client first thinking in the personal training context, or any other context rather. So yeah, I now of course I'm completely virtual and will remain virtual.
And is that because of current global pandemic, or is that a career choice?
It is both, actually. I always envisioned being exclusively virtual, but the global pandemic presented the time. The time was right. I said, now is the time. We'll go virtual and we will remain virtual. And so it has worked out just fine. As far as your question regarding language, it's hard for me to explain because it's just embodying respect. It's a matter of respecting somebody's boundaries, hearing them. If they, my main thing is people say, well, this hurts or this is hard. I want to get really clear on what that means. Is it hurt in the sense of you're having a burning sensation and it's challenging, or is it painful, like you have injured yourself? Because I'm okay with the challenge. I'm okay with you feeling that burning sensation in your muscles because they're being overworked. We're applying that principle of overload. And, I tell them, you've hired me to challenge you, but I will always prioritize keeping you safe. I never want you to get injured.
And do you have the experience of because I've had this experience where clients find that attitude unexpected?
Yes.
They're sort of expecting the militant, you'll do 5 more burpees because I said so. And, one thing I say a lot to my clients is, well, you do you. It's a guide. If you don't want to do them, don't do them. We're just here to work out. If you want to go sit in the corner, off you go. And they look at you like,
exactly.
They're like, but that's not your job. It's like, actually, it is my job.
Right.
If you want the militant trainer, go train with somebody else who's going to be that for you. That's not what I'm going to be for you. I'm going to be the person that helps you take autonomy over your workout.
That is the word. It is so bewildering to the client when I say to them, here's what I'll describe scenario A. This is what it might feel like if your muscles are being worked and you're feeling soreness. But if you're feeling pain, Janet, only you can make that decision about how you feel in your body, and you make the choice of whether or not you feel safe continuing. What should we do? And then I shut up, and they're like, yeah, I think we can keep going. And I'm like, okay, then let's keep going in 3, 2, 1, go. It is a beautiful word that you just said, autonomy. Yes.
I love it. So then, apart from gaining consent and having open discussion, how else do you think we could change the world? Because that's what we're all here for, right? We're going to change the world, but primarily change the fitness industry. How do we help people understand that they can take autonomy over their workouts? One of the things that I say, one of my little catchphrases that we're running with at the moment is learning to fit workouts into your crazy life, not your crazy life around a strict workout regimen. How can we empower our people to, from your perspective, what are the things that you would do to help somebody go, yeah, no, this, I don't want to do that, but I want to do this, and discover more movement in their crazy lives?
It comes down to eliminating a comparison of self to what you see on Pinterest, and comparing, we must stop judging ourselves based on what we see on Instagram and on TikTok and on Facebook and on all these things. Each individual person has their own journey to empowerment by looking inward, acknowledging what it is they want, what it is they are capable of doing and able to accomplish, and doing within reason what they are capable of. We have to deconstruct really what it comes down to, and I have to credit Justice Rowe and Ilya Parker for putting such beautiful content out there about deconstructing the white supremacist beauty and fitness and health standards that you see when you're looking on Instagram stories and an ad comes up. It's a thin white woman or a muscular, lean white man. That is not the only representation of health. I am healthy. I am chubby. I am considered to be obese according to my BMI, but I'm active, I'm strong, I have, I eat and I feed myself every day and I fuel my body for the activities that I want to enjoy. It's about, in addition to everything I just said, it's about feeling freaking joy in your movement, not pushing through the pain. Be gone with that BS. We must go hiking with our family and breathe heavily and enjoy the beautiful vistas that you worked so hard to climb to. It's not about vomiting in a trash can after running on a treadmill for half an hour.
What is that? Seriously, what is that? That's not health. And it's so many words.
It's abuse. That is abuse.
It is. It really is. And I want to ask you, and I'm going to share one of my own personal stories here, but I want to ask you if you're in a position to share some of the stories that you have come across. And getting back to it, what the definition of health is, one of my little favorite pokey holes is the BMI. And I've had this conversation with more doctors than I care to mention over my life journey, where, and I'm not a very tall person, but I am a very muscular person, and I'm chubby. That's the way I am. And my BMI puts me, I think I'm borderline morbid obese, in that scale. And I have had this conversation so often, where they look at you and they go, oh, it'd help you if you lost a bit of weight. So just walking 20 minutes a day, getting in a bit of regular exercise, you should, be able to drop that weight quite easily. And then they go, and what do you do for a living? And I go, I'm a personal trainer. And they go, oh. And then they change the subject. And I have a chuckle to myself and leave the doctor's office, because it's like, yeah, I don't fit your box, man. I really don't fit your box, and I'm never going to fit that box. That system needs to change, because it doesn't take into account all of the people who have bodies that look like mine, or bodies that look like their own bodies, not like mine, their own bodies, but don't fit into this idea that was created. I don't even know for what purpose. What purpose was that image created for? That's a whole other conversation. Let's get back to you. What are some of the stories that you can share with us about the type of people that you are working with? And I guess where I want to go with that is just to help normalize, to help understand that we all have a body, right? And our bodies need to move. That's part of our physiology, is that our bodies need to move. But let's stop telling people what their bodies should look like, and start helping people understand that no matter what your body looks like, your experience is a valid experience.
My answer to that reminds me of another element that informs my training, and it would be that I am a survivor of an eating disorder and my history with body image issues. Having been transparent about my history in that regard has welcomed people into my circle who also have experienced that or continue to struggle with those issues. And the potential harm of a trainer saying that, or a doctor saying what it is that you just described, can send somebody into a really dangerous downspin. If somebody is actively trying to work on their relationship with their body and not hate their body, and not limit putting something in their mouth to then perhaps get rid of it later if they have a bulimic struggle. We really have to be serious about the work that we're doing and sensitive to how, not only what we say, but how we say it. There's a need for transparency in our onboarding forms. The PARQ, what does that stand for again, Joe?
I don't know. You know what?
Physical activity readiness questionnaire.
Yeah, I don't do them.
Yeah, I don't do it. I do my own PARQ, and it's a matter of just asking questions that most trainers won't ask. Something as simple as, number one, asking your pronouns, but number two, is there anything, asking the yes or no questions, asking, are you clear to do a vigorous physical activity? Is there anything else that you want your trainer to know?
Yep.
Open-ended answer. Some people feel safe enough now to disclose, I'm in recovery from an eating disorder. I'm in recovery from exercise bulimia. I'm working with a therapist on my nutrition habits. And that means that I must take those items and topics into consideration and not say something that's going to literally hurt somebody so bad that they could end up in a hospital.
Yep.
It's about keeping people safe.
And it's like, I think for me as a trainer, I straight up tell my clients I don't do weight loss. If you want to do weight loss, go find a different trainer. And interestingly, but not interestingly, it makes perfect sense. I no longer get clients who want those types of programs.
Yeah.
And I get the clients who want to come in, have fun, feel like a nerd, be uncomfortable with their body. In my studio, we don't have any mirrors, so you don't have to sit there looking at yourself all day, or we go outside and we talk, we have fun, we have a laugh, we make jokes, we swing heavy things. And a lot of my clients are actually clients who hate the gym. And I say to them, no, I'm there with you. I also hate the gym for all the reasons that they hate the gym. I'm getting to a question here. It's coming. And then, so what do you say to clients who might approach you with it's a really tangled web here in my brain. I'm sorry, we're getting there. Because the clients who you need come to you, right? And the clients recognize something in you as a trainer. They go, I need you to help me do the thing that I need to do, but I'm stuck in the program. And so they come to you with these pre-programmed statements of, I just want to lose a bit of weight. I just want to tone up a bit, those kind of statements. How do you deal with, but you as a trainer are sitting there going, actually, I'm pretty sure this is what you need over here. How do you navigate that to help that client step out of the box, in inverted commas, and into the freedom of, again, taking autonomy over their workout and their body and feeling good about moving without that constant judgment?
It is such a nuanced approach. Because on the one hand, I don't want to be a contradiction and say, oh, I know what's best for you. This may be controversial, but if someone comes to me and is, for instance, a trans man who says, for the purpose of affirming my masculine identity, I would love to, lose weight and tone up, I will honor whatever their request is, but I will be very clear in that it's not what I'm going to focus on in our discussions. I will give you the tools and program a workout that is going to be very cardiovascularly challenging and will develop a lot of strength. But, if you need to track your progress with pictures and measurements and weight, that's something that you're going to have to figure out on your own, because that is not what I do in order to keep you safe. Because I don't want you to develop an eating disorder. I don't want you to develop body image issues, which is very complex for someone of that identity. But, I will say, okay, I understand what your goals are. I'll take you there. But instead of thinking about what you look like, let's focus on how you perform. So one of my clients is very close to the silhouette that I've just described, and he's a runner. And so we don't focus on how much do you weigh this week. We focus on how fast was your mile run this week. You know, let's focus more on what you have to gain, your strength, instead of what you think you have to lose. That may be a byproduct, but I'm not going to focus on that because I'm trying to keep myself safe and you safe, and completely reject that we need to change our bodies when instead we can think about how we can improve our abilities.
Nice. I love it. And I'm just going to throw this one at you. And again, getting back, sorry, not getting back to you, but rolling on from, because this is a real issue for a lot of people coming through and recovering from disordered eating habits. What is the biggest hurdle as a trainer that you might come up against with a client who has a disordered eating habit, in terms of getting them to understand that it is about, or not even, what is it that you're trying to get them to understand, I think is a good question there, in terms of helping them recover and not fall backwards, or understand that falling backwards just means we keep moving forwards. But, you know, I guess what I'm looking for is some kind of your go-to phrase, even if it just comes up in your head before you filter it out into the real world, about how we get these people to just sort of go, you know what, I can do this. And to give you an example where I'm going, I'm rambling a little bit, my brain here. Sorry, guys, we're getting there. You know, I had a client who I was working with, and I came up against this, not against, I saw this thing that I was doing in one of my other courses, which was, yeah, I've got this. Oh, I don't have this. Today I really suck. I'm feeling better. Yeah, I've got this. And, you know, I put it up on a little card and I gave it to my client. And she looked at me and went, oh, I really need this. You know, it was the thing she needed in that moment to help her realize that not everything's perfect. You know, it's a journey. Some days are awesome. Some days really suck.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, what's your go-to like what do you fall back on to help people get over those, oh my God, I really suck moments?
Yeah. I compare it to the stock market.
Oh, interesting.
Say, you know, let me think of an example. Number one, because that was a loaded question.
Sorry, not sorry.
Number one. No, never sorry. Number one, we finished a hard workout and I say, great, do you have time to have a snack? You know, I encourage people to eat because they're using energy. Say, oh, if you have, you know, if it fits within your dietary restrictions, like have a yogurt, have a bar, you know, have some protein, maybe a little bit of sugar, so that you can feel replenished immediately after your workout. Because I'm sure you are feeling exhausted because you've used so much energy. Let's refuel and, you know, enjoy drinking a lot of water throughout the rest of the day. You know, and I'll also encourage people to send me a text. Send me a text tonight. Let me know how you feel, or tomorrow, or you know, in 2 days from now, if you have any delayed onset muscle soreness, like I'll give you the tools that you need so that you can feel good. Which might be, you know, someone might say, I didn't think the workout was that hard, but 2 days later, I can barely get off the toilet. And I'll tell them, you know, that is an excellent sign. That means we did what we needed to do and strengthened area that needed to be strengthened, and you worked hard and it was appropriate. And because, you know, like, let me be clear, that doesn't mean that you always have to feel sore after a workout. It just means that, like, oh, we're doing something new probably that we haven't done ever or in a long time, and it's your body thanking you for providing strength. Take an Epsom salt bath if that's comfortable for you. Foam roll, stretch, hydrate, get moving, get the blood flowing to regenerate those muscle fibers. And the way that I compare it to the stock market is, wow, you may feel really lousy right now, but tomorrow you're going to feel a little better and it's going to climb up. And then you might have a shitty, crappy day, and then it's going to dip down, but generally it's trending up and to the right. It's never going to go directly up and to the right, but you're going to have peaks and valleys. And, just try to zoom out and see the big picture when you're on a low day.
Zoom out and see the big picture. I love it. I love it. That's I don't say exactly that, but one of the things I say to my clients is we play the long game here.
Yeah.
It's not a short game. It's a very, very long game. Good days and bad days. I love it.
Exactly.
I just had a really cool question rolling around in my head, and I meant to write it down and I forgot it, and that's going to frustrate me.
I hate when that happens.
God damn it. No, it's back. Yes. Excellent.
Oh, good. Go.
So then, swinging it around, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Let's go.
What would you say to trainers about how we need to change in the industry to be more inclusive? So it's, this question is directed at the industry and at fellow trainers and at people who are perpetuating this idea that, in order to be successful in life, you need to be thin and muscular and be able to do 1,000 burpees in a minute and blah, 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 blah. What do we say to them? What do you say? I know what I would say to them. What do you say to them?
What does it say on your certificate? You are a personal trainer. Each individual is a person, and each program must be completely personalized and individualized to their needs, to their abilities, to their comfort level, to their goals. There is no cookie cutter program that's going to be right for one person and to the next person. It's about working extremely hard to get to know each individual's needs and limits and accommodating them accordingly. You are a personal trainer. Personalize your programs.
So I'm gonna throw in there. When I first started out in my career, I had a friend, one of my study buddies had a mentor she came to a point where she was selling her business. And the reason she was doing that is because she said she was tired of becoming a therapist in sneakers. And this is 23 years ago now. My instant response to that was, what did you think the job was? And she was choosing to end her 15-20 year career because she was tired of being a therapist in sneakers. And as somebody brand new in the industry, I'm just like, what did you think the job was? Is that not the job? To be here to help? But
I think there is a fine line. Absolutely. I am lovingly listening to what my clients need or don't need and reacting accordingly. But just as I respect my clients' boundaries, my clients respect my boundaries. And it depends, again, it depends on each scenario. If I'd rather spend, 5 or 10 minutes having a sincere conversation and then having a really good 20-minute workout than talking for half an hour. Because what I'll say instead is, okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Now, before we get on to our workout and take all of what you just said into consideration, do you have a professional to discuss this with? Because I am not a licensed therapist. I am a personal trainer. I'm going to be loving to you and take, as much sensitivity and empathy and awareness into the workout. But I do expect to move. And it's a seesaw. Like, there's some listening, there's some moving, there's some listening, there's some moving. It's a delicate balance. And I think it takes a lot of social awareness, which is very interesting. I am a person with autism. So I'm very clear about my communication, and I am very adamant about prefacing, like, while I understand everything that you said was very sensitive, we're going to delicately, and I'll say very literally, now we're going to delicately transition. Let's take a breath here together. Do you feel ready to proceed with the workout? Does that feel safe to you?
Wow, that's amazing. And again, communication and consent. I love it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Again, question leading on from that. I got all caught up in thinking that was wonderful, and now I've forgotten my question.
Oh,
I hate that. Come on, Joe, get your brain together. I'm on holidays at the moment, so my brain is a little bit not really here. I've forgotten it. It'll come back. We'll get back to it later. So then, when it comes to on a daily basis, not on a daily basis, just in your life in general, this can often be a triggering question for me. And because people are always asking, well, what do you do to work out? And, you know, I teach 15 classes a week. You know, I walk a minimum of between 30 and 50 kilometers a week. I also have 3 small children who I have to run around. So my actual workouts have been put aside. And I always get really triggered about it. It's like, I don't really know. But what's your answer to that question? What does your personal workout regimen look like?
Absolutely. I love the way you framed it because I can completely relate. My workout is teaching people how to work out. You know, when someone is learning how to do a split squat, I'm doing split squats.
Yep.
And, you know, it might not be 30 minutes, it might not be a 30-minute workout, but cumulatively throughout the day, I'm getting a lot of activity. Additionally, on the weekends, I teach pickleball and I'm playing pickleball. So the other reason that I became a personal trainer and became a certified pickleball coach was because I want to stay active and I can't sit at a desk in an office from 9 to 5. And I'm going to get my activity throughout the day, every day as a personal trainer and as a pickleball coach.
Nice. I love it.
Hiking with my dog, you know, and
what kind of dog have you got? What's your dog's name?
A little brown dog.
Come, show us your dog. Sorry, for people listening, we're getting the dog up to the puppy. Hello, Fluffy.
Oh, really cute.
You're a cutie.
Your friends in the window?
Hello.
She loves to hunt cats.
Aw. She's a cutie. Anyway, sorry, that's bad radio. For people listening to this, there's a very cute dog on the screen right now. So go and watch it on YouTube just to see the puppy.
She's still hanging out.
She's quite welcome to hang out. So then my next question is, what's your favorite exercise?
Oh, my favorite exercise, I think, are modified burpees.
Ooh,
I know, no one has ever said that. So it's a burpee mechanic, but using a chair instead of going all the way down to the floor.
Yep. And
you jump and squat and all that.
Yep.
It feels good. It helps me to feel like I can still do jumping and my belly doesn't get in the way.
Yep. Nice.
What else do I also like? I also like kick throughs, where you start in your bear pose and you kick through. It's cardio core. It's hard. And then lastly, you know, my favorite way of getting exercise is through teaching pickleball and going sailing. People don't believe that sailing is not kicking back with your feet up and having a margarita. You know, when you're on a little vessel and the wind is howling, it's a workout.
I can imagine. I've only ever been on a sailboat twice in my life, so.
Well, we're gonna have to change that.
Well, my wife is her family sails. Her father has a boat and her brother has a boat, and yeah, I'm not a.
It's not for everybody.
I can tell you, we're on my brother-in-law's boat one day, and is the correct term that it tacked, right? So it turned sharply.
Perhaps it tacked, yes.
And then I'm just like, I grabbed whatever was next to me, and I'm like, and he just looks at me and laughs. I'm like, listen, I'm terrified right now. And he's just like, but it was like dead flat day, tiny little wind, but the boat, it just no.
Yeah. I mean, it's courtesy. Proper courtesy is to say, preparing to tack. Is everybody ready? 3, 2, 1, tacking. You know.
Yeah.
It's not nice to get caught off guard like that.
You know, they can have the boat. I'll stay on land and do my thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Bianca, I think we might put a pin in it there.
Great.
Is there anything burning, any other messages you want to give out there to the fitness industry? Tell them to get their shit together. Oh, no, you know what? I did have some more questions. I'm sorry.
Tell me.
Sorry, people. We're not finishing yet. This question just came back. I know, right? Modified exercises, right? For people with movement issues, how do you teach a because, you know, this is something that I do. I just go, because, again, everybody's stuck in a push-up looks like this. And it's like, okay, but modify it.
Modify it. Use a wall.
Yeah. What's your favorite way of, freeing somebody from the box and getting them to see that they can modify pretty much any exercise to help them get their movement done?
Totally. If you have a wall, a chair, or a yoga mat that you can roll up and kneel on, you can do things standing, you can do things from a chair, and you can do things kneeling. There is a desperate need to be creative as a trainer, because there's no single encyclopedia that says, you know, here is an exercise for the quadriceps for somebody who has bad knees and is over 65. You know, like, you have to figure it out by yourself. And it's a matter of being creative, communicating with the client and seeing what their needs and their sensitivities are, and experimenting, saying something like, okay, I understand that kneeling is not comfortable for you. So, you know, even using a knee pad is not going to work because you also have a wrist issue. Let's invert this. And instead of doing bird dog, let's do dead bug. Or, you know, if you're really struggling to complete a kneeling push-up, let's try it on the chair. And if that seems to be still too difficult, let's perfect the mechanics on a windowsill or at a wall. We'll get your elbows coming back and down beside your body so that you get a lot of triceps, some chest and shoulder as well. And once you perfect that full range of motion standing, we'll make it a little harder and go to the chair. And then we'll go make it a little harder and go kneeling. And then in 12 weeks, we'll see if you can do a single push-up on the floor. It's a matter of being patient and being transparent. Like, I say to my clients, let's see if this works for you. There's only one way to find out. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Yep. Love it. I love it. I love it. That's the answer I was looking for. Yay.
Yay. Cool.
Now we're going to put a pin in it. So I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on my humble little podcast to have this awesome conversation. It's been wonderful. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Is there anything you want the listeners to know about what you're doing right now? For example, I'm pretty sure today you started a program.
I started it on Friday. Well, first want to, no, that's okay. I wanted to thank you for having me on the podcast. It's been a wonderful, it's almost 10 a.m. Eastern time in Washington, D.C. So this is a wonderful way to start my day. It's a good way to get the brain moving. I would love to announce that I have started my first ever 6-week fitness challenge via a web app that I've created. Ooh. And I encourage people to follow me on Instagram at Bianca Russo Fitness to see how this first cohort performs, because I will certainly be doing another 6-week fitness challenge come in the fall. I think I'm going to call it something cute like Fabulous Fall Fitness Challenge or something with alliteration, because I like that. So yeah, if there's anybody else that you want to follow while you're on Instagram, go follow Coach Justice Rowe and Decolonizing Fitness to support our Black trans trainers in the community, and be kind to yourself.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on my podcast. How can people get in, apart from Instagram, how can people get in contact with you?
Email me, hello@BiancaRussoFitness.com.
Awesome. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you. And a huge thank you to Bianca for coming on and taking time out from your busy day to come on and have a chat with me about the fitness industry. And it was such an awesome conversation. My takeaways from this conversation were for me, and you know, for me, and I actually said this to Bianca off air before we started recording, which was, it's so refreshing to find trainers in the industry who are willing and able and actively taking time out and creating different ways of doing things and creating space for people to feel more welcome in the fitness industry. You know, when I started in the fitness industry back in the dark ages, we all had to fit into the box, and if you didn't fit in the box, then you didn't fit in, and you struggled to get work, and you struggled to get clients, and you struggled, and you know, and that was my experience. And I'm sitting on this 20 plus year career of working in this industry and feeling like I have quite literally been pushing shit uphill, trying to, you know, like never fitting in, and trying to create space for myself. And it's finally happening, you know, it's finally happening that I'm out there. And, you know, maybe this is because of the internet, maybe because everything is suddenly, you know, I'm getting to see more things and more people and that kind of stuff. But there's more trainers out there who are doing awesome things about changing the industry and changing the way the world views health and changing the way the world views movement and exercise. And we are getting away from this need to view exercise as punishment and view any body that doesn't fit, in inverted commas, the norm, or, you know, this archaic idea of what a normal body should look like. You know, we're getting away from all of that, and we are getting into this space of movement is for everybody, and health and fitness and strength is for everybody, and we all get to feel good about ourselves. And it was just such an immense pleasure to have a conversation with a trainer who feels that way. And, you know, so I'm loving working in the industry these days, and being able to reach out and build relationships with fellow trainers who think relatively similarly to the way I do, in terms of, you know, let's change it. Let's create a better space for all humans in the fitness industry instead of making everybody feel like crap. Anyway, and then, you know, this other takeaway that I got from it was, can we all just make a large effort to create space for everybody? You know, everybody's on a journey, and everybody's story is their story. And, you know, the more we can have conversations about it, the more we can do what we can do to help others feel better, then we're all gonna get there, if that makes any sense. But anyway, that was my takeaway. What were your takeaways from that conversation? Yeah, that was my takeaway. If you've got any questions, quandaries, or queries about this conversation or any of the other conversations that we've had here on the Good to Go pod, please reach out, get in contact with me. If you would like to get in contact with Bianca, sorry, I gotta get that right, Bianca, there is links in the show notes. Feel free, or if you're struggling with that, send me an email and I will connect you. So thank you again, Bianca, for coming on my podcast. Everybody else, thank you for listening to my podcast, or if you're on the YouTubes, thank you for watching my podcast. And, you know, remember to like and subscribe and do all those things and share to help us get this little conversation out to the rest of the world. Alright guys, as always, have fun, be good, love what you do, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.